In lesson 4.4, we're going to be comparing and ordering decimals. Yes, you'll need your whiteboard and your math journal, so get yourself ready for today's math lesson. On your whiteboard, I want you to write the place value that is underlined. Go ahead and say the first number aloud. How would you read that number? Try it. Say it out loud. It would be read 41 and 92 hundredths. Go ahead and say it. What place value is underlined? The 9 is in what place value? Go ahead and write it on your whiteboard. Number 2, how would you read that number? Go ahead and say it out loud. Should be read 144 and 73 hundredths. What place value is underlined? Write it on your whiteboard next to number 2. So number 1, the tenths place is underlined, and number 2, the hundredths place is underlined. All right, go ahead and erase your whiteboard and let's try 2 more. How would you read number 1? Go ahead and read it out loud. 8 and 9 hundredths. Say it. 8 and 9 hundredths. Number 2, how would you read that one? Say it out loud. 712 thousandths. 712 thousandths. Go ahead and write what place value the 9 is underlined and the 2. Number 1, 8 and 9 hundredths. The hundredths place is underlined. And number 2, 712 thousandths. The 2 is in the thousandths place. And lastly, how would you read number 1? Read it out loud, and number 2. Number 1 would be read 6,131 and 81 thousandths. Say it. What place value is the 8 in? It's in the hundredths. Number 2, read that one aloud. Number 2 should be read 131,096 and 54 hundredths. Say it. What place value is underlined? What place value is the 5 in? It is in the tenths. So just memorize those place values. So if I were to ask you to compare 2 decimals, which is greater, 34 hundredths or 248 thousandths? You may use a grid or expanded form to help you decide, and be ready to explain how you know. If I were to fill out a thousandths chart, this is what it would look like. The other thing that I can do is to go ahead and compare. If I line up these 2 decimals so that the decimal point is in the same place, I would look at the ones place, they're the same. Then I would look at the tenths place, which is larger, 3 or 2. 3 is larger. So one way I could say that is 34 hundredths is greater than 248 thousandths. Or I can write it the other way and say 248 thousandths is less than 34. So here's what I did is I compared. The ones were the same, so I moved to the next place value. The tenths, this one had a 3, this one had a 2. So even though this one has more numbers numbers in the place value, I can put a 0 there. Does it matter that 248 thousandths has a larger digit in the thousands place than 34? No, it doesn't, because the first place that they are different is the tenths. So which is larger, 248 thousandths or 24 hundredths? One of the things I could do is go ahead and shade in. This would be 200, 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. 24 would be the same as 10, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So 248 thousandths is greater than 24 hundredths. I can also put a 0 behind there and I can start comparing. 0 and 0 are the same. 2 and 2 are the same. 4 and 4 is the same. I can add a 0 behind that. 8 and 0, which is larger? The 8. Which is larger, 1 and 2 tenths or 25 hundredths? Well, the first thing I'd want to do is compare. There's a 1 in the ones place and a 0. So this would be 1 whole, 1 filled in plus 2 tenths of another one. This one would just be 2 and 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 and 2 tenths is greater than 25 hundredths. So looking at all of these decimals, which decimal is the greatest and how do you know? So we have 1 and 2 tenths, 25 hundredths, 248 thousandths, 34 hundredths, and 24 hundredths. On your whiteboard, would you please write the largest decimal or the greatest decimal? You should have written down 1 and 2 tenths. First thing I'm going to do is compare the ones place. They're all zeros except for the first one. Let's go ahead and move into our journal. We're going to be on journal page 121. Journal page 121. Interpreting remainders. So we continue to work on the skills that we have already learned in previous units, and that is division and what to do with a remainder. On page 121, you're going to solve each number story. Show your work. You'll be taking a picture and uploading it to Schoology. Explain what you decided to do with the remainder. So number 1, Bree earned 189 tickets playing different games at the fair. If each prize costs 15 tickets, how many prizes can Bree get? So she has 189 tickets, and we divide that by 15 tickets per prize. Does it go in there at least 10 times? You bet it does. Always use multiples of 10 to begin with. 10, 20, 30. Don't try to do 12 or 13. Just start with 10 because that's easy to multiply. 10 times 15 is 150. When it no longer can go in 10 times, then start to think about basic facts. Okay, can it go in there 10 times again? No, it cannot. So it can go in there twice, which is 30. Go ahead and subtract 30 from 39. Is my remainder smaller than my divisor? Then I am done adding, or I'm done dividing. So it was 189 divided by 15 equals how many prizes? The quotient means answer. The answer is 12. The remainder was 9. So how many prizes can she get? Can she get 9? Can she get 12 and 9/15 of a prize? No, she can get 12 prizes. So what did we do with the remainder? Did we ignore it? Did we report it as a fraction? Can she get a part of a prize? Or can she get more? No, we had to ignore it. She doesn't have enough to get another prize. Again, remember, if it takes you a little bit longer, go ahead and pause the video. You know that by now. All right, let's move on to number 2. Elizabeth is 58 inches tall. What is her height in feet? Remember that 1 foot is the same as 12 inches. So let's take her height of 58 inches and divide that by 12. Now, can it go in there 10 times? No, 10 times 12 would be 120. But you should know your 12s by now. Your facts should have been memorized back in 4th grade. If they're not, that's something you need to work on at home. So I know that 12 times 2 is 24, 12 times 3 is 36, 12 times 4 is 48, 12 times 5 is 60. So 5 times is too many, so it goes in there 4. 12 times 4 is 48. Go ahead and subtract. Can it go in there again? No. Our remainder is now smaller than my divisor. And so the 10 is the remainder. So the number model was 58 divided by 12 gives me how tall she is. The quotient is the answer for the remainder was 10. Now, how tall is Elizabeth? Do we just say 4 feet? No, we would say 4 and 10 12 feet tall. So 4'10" is how we would probably say it typically. What did we do with that remainder? Did we ignore it? Did we report it as a fraction, or did we round the answer of quotient up? We report it as a fraction. Most of us are not exactly 4 feet tall or 5 feet tall or 6 feet tall. So ignoring it would change Elizabeth's height.